You're watching India Today Global. Today is the 25th anniversary of Kargil Vijay Diwas. This day commemorates India's victory over Pakistan in the 1999 war and the end of Operation Vijay. This war was a high-altitude conflict between India and Pakistan in the rugged terrain of the Kargil district in Jammu and Kashmir. The bravery and resilience of Indian soldiers during this conflict are remembered with deep respect and gratitude on the Kargil Vijay Diwas. The history of Kargil Vijay Diwas dates back to the summer of 1999 when Pakistani troops disguised as militants or mujahideens infiltrated positions on the Indian side of the line of control. The intrusion was detected in early May, leading to a swift and determined response by the Indian military. The operation, named Operation Vijay, aimed to evict the intruders from the Indian territory, and the ensuing conflict lasted for over 3 months. Fierce battles were fought at high altitudes and in challenging conditions. But for Indians, this war extends beyond the battlefield. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is at the Kargil War Memorial where respects are being paid to soldiers who fought with great valor as also lost their lives. To discuss what really happened in Kargil and what is it that the government really needs to do when it comes to lessons that have been learned or not learned, I'm being joined by Captain Saxena, who is a war veteran himself. He was injured severely during the Kargil war. Thank you so much, Captain Saxena, for joining us here on India Today Global. Indeed, your valor and the sacrifices made by you and the boys in Kargil in the summer of 1999 is the reason why we have much safety today in not just Jammu and Kashmir, but today Kargil is transformed. Look at the kind of infrastructure, the kind of resilience with which the Indian forces stand there against Pakistan. But it is Pakistan's treachery, Captain Saxena. It is Pakistan that continues, and the Indian side cannot really lay down or think for 1 second that this is a safe space.
Yeah. So, Jai Hind everyone, and I think first I'd like to congratulate every Indian for 25th anniversary of Kargil War. It's a day of pride for all of us. Pride because we have won a war which was looking like an impossible war. But it's also a day of pain because we have lost many, officers and jawans. And for me personally, it's a very emotional day because, I have lost officers who were like family to me, like brothers to me. So it's a very emotional journey. And if I just look back 25 years, I find myself standing there, right? And enemy continue to do. Pakistan is one country which never learns, right? They keep trying everything, starting from terrorism to your misadventure like Kargil. And in Kargil, in fact, their plan was very good, if I tell you. They occupied the winter vacated post, which were just running across an NH1, which was our main connectivity from Leh Ladakh to Srinagar. And our entire stocking, ammunition, everything for Siachen Glacier and Leh
Hmm.
Ladakh used to go through this. Enemy captured those peaks. They were sitting and continuously firing on roads, so nothing was allowed to move. We were in a situation that, like in mountain warfare, if enemy is on top, the chances of victory for the person or the next party who is on the ground is not even 1%.
Hmm.
And they knew that Indian soldiers, Indian commandos will come through these, rocks and hills. So they put all mines all across. And in fact, I'll admit that we were also taken by surprise. So we were not having the resources, we were not even having the snow boots or our night vision devices. Very basic things were missing. And temperature was going up to minus 18 degrees centigrade on these peaks, right? So it was even difficult to breathe.
Right.
But I think in this situation, what they have never counted and they thought their plan is successful because they have captured all the peaks. So their 99% plan was successful. Only one thing was there, just continue, keep sitting there for next 2 months, cut the Leh Ladakh and Siachen Glacier, and in winter, capture a part of Leh Ladakh and capture the Siachen Glacier.
Right.
But one thing they missed was the valor, bravery of junior leadership coming from Indian Army.
Absolutely.
So people have given their sacrifice and they decided that, we may be in a bad position. We may be in a position where the chances of victory is even 1%. But still, we are going to win it for our countrymen, for this Tiranga, what you see, and for our country.
Well, Captain Saxena, just talking about the infrastructure right now, like you said, and I'll talk about your personal ordeal as well. The fact that there was a lot of one, that the fact that India was caught completely unawares, but also the
Yeah.
fact that in terms of infrastructure, uh, what is the difference that you see from then and now? Are we now in a position to take on Pakistan, not just the Mujahideens, which we are doing on a daily basis in the valleys, also in Jammu, but also the army?
So I think at that time Pakistan thought they will be a thing, and yes, we were caught by surprise. That's a thing, but still we able to turn the table. But if you see after that, lot of work has been done onto our awareness system on the tracking and surveillance side. We have got much better infrastructure, and with the now Atma Bharat, we have started doing a lot of production of the arms and all. So in terms of the full-fledged conflict, we are much better equipped. However, the tactics what they are using now, they are shifting from valley to, if you see in recent encounters, they are shifting from valley to towards Doda and Jammu region, right? Because there
Absolutely, yes.
our planning and our security was not up to the mark. Obviously, most of their attacks were in the valley. So now they are, because of 370, there's a lot of tightening has been done. New terrorists are not able to infiltrate through valley. So they are started, moving through Punjab and towards Jammu side. So obviously it's a change of tactics because they were not able to make any impact now in the valley. And I can tell you it's just a short lived. They have changed the thing, and now more army battalions has been inducted. And it's just a matter of time that we are going to eliminate them. See, whosoever is going to turn their eyes towards us, Indian forces are always ready to, give that reply. And I think I just want to assure my countrymen that, till the time Indian forces are there guarding our border, fighting against terrorists, we can all feel that nothing is going to happen to our great nation.
Right. Prime Minister Modi is about to land at the Kargil War Memorial in Kargil. But the Prime Minister, after landing, will also carry out the first blast of the Shinkunla Tunnel project. Let's just tell you what that really is. In an official release, it said that Shinkunla project consists of a 4.1-kilometer long twin tube tunnel, which will be constructed at an altitude of around 15,800 feet on the Nimu Padum Darcha Road to provide all-weather connectivity to Leh. Captain Saxena, the fact that Zanskar used to be absolutely cut off during winters, this tunnel will ensure that there is no such connectivity issue with the Zanskar Valley.
Very important. I think that was one thing where the right decision was taken, because if you see earlier there was only one link which was NH1, right? And that too was open only for 6 to 7 months. For rest of the time, because of very snow, some of these passes were closed. Right now we are making these tunnels, and through these tunnels we will ensure that we have got a connectivity all through the weather. And that's a very important point, not only from Pakistan point of view, but also from China point of view. We are able to move our forces in much quicker way, and that will make the difference. That it's about how fast you can move your resources to the area of conflict. So it's a we are in a much better position, and not only Pakistan, because if you really tell me, now we stop compare ourselves to Pakistan. We should now look at the China threat. And China is much bigger in terms of their information system, in their modernization of weapons and all. So our real enemy, or in terms of how we have to deal, is going to be China and not Pakistan really.
Right. Your personal experience, Captain Saxena, the fact that you yourself were a part of that entire operation, tell us what really happened. You and your boys did come out victorious, but what really happened?
So when we reached Kargil, as I told you earlier, the situation was really bad. And we were given the first task of peak of Tololing. And Tololing was the most important peak in the entire Kargil thing, because Pakistan used to call it their fort. 5 6 attacks on these peaks were not fully successful, because last 300 meter was like gradient of 80 to 85 degree. And As we start moving, it was totally full of mine. So the body of our officers, Major Vikas Adhikari, who led the attack from 18 Grenadiers, was lying there. Major Lieutenant Colonel Vishnathan died fighting. One Naga made the attack, but the strategic situation was so important that Pakistan was able to hold it because they put all their mines, all their weapons on this peak. So I think our commanding officer, Colonel Ravindra, I was leading the artillery charge, and he told me, Captain Akhilesh, the differentiator, one of the differentiator for this attack is going to be the artillery fire. We want so massive artillery fire on Tololing that enemies should not move out and take a aim when our forces are climbing up. And we used to climb up with 50 kg on our back in a temperature of minus 18 degree in a normal boots, but it was all around snow. So each step was very difficult. I promised to him, sir, we will ensure that our soldiers are able to move up because we are going to plan a mission, which is we called it Shatru Nash, and we have got such a massive fire. But that is the only thing which was not enough. There were more. We were not sure that still we will come back or not, right? And
Hmm.
we could not tell our even family member that we are going such an important attack. So many of us, me, Captain Vijayan Thapar, and many other young officers, we have written our last letters to our family. It means if we don't come back, that letter is sealed in a box and goes to our family. And if we don't come back, if we come back, we just tear it off because we have won against the, death. But if we don't come back, the first line is like if I'm writing to my mother, I've written three letters to my wife, to my father. I was newly married. I've written to my mother that, when you will get this letter, I will be watching you from the sky. I'll not be there with you to take care of you when you grow old. But today, I'm choosing the Mother India against my own mother. But you should always be proud of your son. I've written to my wife that, we have a very short lived time together, but, you should always be proud. And if next time I take birth, I will again want to be a soldier of Indian Army and fight. So, that's what the kind of emotions we have to put in before going for this societal mission. So on 12th, we launched this attack. We put Kesariya Vana on our head. That was symbol that we will win or we will not come back. And finally, continuously kept fighting without food, without water. We have taken out everything, only our arms and ammunition. And I think on 13th, we have bought massive Bofors 105, all guns 120 large guns, and artillery. One shell is like 42 kg. It's a massive killing radius. We have bought so much of fire that our Jawans, our commando team was able to move up. And finally, when we move up, Pakistan started running because, they never thought we will reach up there. And finally, we put the tricolor on Tololing on 13th of June.
Your letters did not go, Captain Saxena, but many of the letters did go. Uh,
Yeah,
Captain Thapar was one of them,
yes.
Vikram Batra as well. Um, did you get to speak to the family members after? How difficult was it to deal with the losses of your buddies, your friends, uh, your teammates, so to say?
I think that was more difficult than facing the showers of bullets from enemy, right? From the barrels or the rocket they were firing at us. That was easy to deal with. But just think, these officers who are like brother to us, right? They become part of us, like Vikram, Captain Vikram Batra. We stayed together in such a situation. He was like younger brother to me. Captain Vijayan Thapar, Major Acharya, Major Vivek Gupta. It's not easy that you are going up on the attack together and suddenly you find your comrade who is like a family member, who's like a brother to you, just lying in a pool of blood. But you can't even stay for a minute, to stay with your dying soldiers. You still need to move on because otherwise his sacrifice will go waste. We just take one more resolve that, brother, I will not leave this task unfinished. Your sacrifice will not go waste. And then we move on. But it's really difficult. In fact, even after 20 years back, I just get up in many times in my night. And those memories, though it flashes in my mind all the time. It's not easy to deal with that. So it's really disturbing writing letters to your family, leaving your comrades when they are dying, but still keep moving on. And once you come back, you always have that pride that you have won something possible for the country. But at the same time, you have got few tears in your eyes because they will never leave you. You will always remember your brothers who were with you in this important journey. I myself got injured badly in my third attack, right? And the chances of survival was very, very less. I got hit. After Tololing, we got the second attack. In my third attack, when we were very close to the bunkers, and this was one of the most difficult attack. Three officers casualty. We lost three officers in this attack and many Jawans. And when we were very close to the enemy peak, I was hit by enemy artillery shelling. A large piece of splinters just came my way. I was just trying to save one of my colleagues, just put his head down, but by that time it passed through my left hand. And a part of the hand was gone in a flash. But the situation is you can't stop that time. Because if the artillery fire will stop, then the entire attack will stop because enemy will come out and they will start firing to our commandos who are moving up the slope with lot of weights and against all difficulty.
So you continued firing after having lost an arm. You continued to hold the position.
Yes. So despite being hit, we have to move on. We have to continuously hold the position and continuous bring the fire onto the enemy because that's a very critical part of the entire attack. So though I was losing my blood like a water,
Yes.
and my buddy told me, Saab, you have to go down, otherwise you will die. The way you are losing, but I told him my life that is not so important than this attack because so many officers and jawans has already given the sacrifice. We will see what will happen. But today, right now, the priority is to win this attack, and we continued. But after some time, because of the so much of the loss of blood, I lost my consciousness. And when I regained my consciousness, after some time, they put some ice and some water. By that time, we have put the tricolor on that three pimples area. But the key struggle, how will you get your medical facilities? Even the first medical assistant was nearly 4 hours away. We were on the, close to the peaks. And that assistant is only at the farm base.
Right. So
That
very,
was,
right. So very difficult situation for Indian soldiers. But because you're an RT, you're from the RT, I have to ask you this: how critical was Bofors for the Kargil victory?
so Bofors has got many controversy in terms of commercial. So I don't go into that, what was there. But
Absolutely
as
not.
a, yeah, yeah. But as a weapon, it was a good gun. It was quite accurate. And then it has got the flexibility to move quite fast. And I myself, being an artillery officer, I was directing the fire of multiple Bofors, 36 Bofors and so many other guns on the Tololing and other peak. And we have in fact used the Bofors in a direct firing role, which was more like an innovation. Even their manufacturers have not kind of used it so effectively in a direct firing role.
Hmm. So it was very critical at the end of the day. Captain Saxena?
Yeah,
So it was very critical at the end of the day, having Bofors there.
yeah, it definitely helped.
This is the 25th anniversary, Captain Saxena, and we have the Prime Minister himself going to Kargil to pay respects to all those soldiers who fought and also lost their lives in the Kargil war. A very significant day, a very important one. We have a lot of the soldiers who served right there in Kargil, and you're here with us talking about what really happened in Kargil. So, very significant moment. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your details and your story. But staying on what the Kargil Vijay Diwas really means, in terms of resilience, in terms of what the army has done, Indian forces have done from the Kargil war up until now, do you think lessons have been learned? Do you think there's more that needs to be done?
Yeah, so I think one, this was a, there were many lessons starting from the early detection of the intrusion, starting from intelligence, and I think some of those lessons are well learned. and there was a committee on Kargil review committee which has given their recommendation, and most of the recommendation are already being implemented. But Kargil has also given us one thing, that despite being in the most difficult situation, Indian forces and the leaders, young leaders and the officers and jawans, they still face the situation and won it. That has established the Indian army as the best, one of the best army in the world. And there are case studies which are being done that despite in this situation, we could win. And that's a lesson for my countrymen also, that your forces are one of the best, but are you the citizen worth fighting for? Are your armed forces proud of us? I really don't know. We just kind of put a flag in some of these occasions like 15th August, 26th, and Kargil Vijay Diwas. But other than we are not being bothered, there are many disabled officers and Jawan who are still fighting with their life.
That's
Are
true.
do we have gratitude that we can have some sincere regard for them and care for them? I think then we will make our nation strong.
That's a very
Jai Hind.
important
Thank you.
That's a very important point you make, and thank you so much, Captain Saxena, for joining us and sharing not just your story, but also perspective on what the Indian administration should be focusing on. It's been 25 years of Kargil, but there are many lessons to be learned, many to be followed, and many indeed to be implemented. Thank you so much for joining us here on India Today.
Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
That was Captain Saxena joining us here on India Today Global, talking about 25 years. His valor is unspeakable in terms of what he did, what his battalion did, what the boys and the soldiers, the officers, all of them involved in the Kargil war actually did. They delivered. They delivered for India. They delivered the entire valley that was taken over by Pakistan for India. In moments from now, Prime Minister Modi will be landing in Kargil, and we'll be going live on that once we have visuals from Kargil War Memorial. But this was an exclusive conversation with a war veteran who indeed has spoken of the importance of the valor of Indian soldiers, the way they fought not just on ground but also in the skies, as also what the Indian administration should be focusing on, what Prime Minister Modi's government should really be focusing on. Thank you for watching.